Good afternoon. This is Yvonne DeVita with lipsticking.com. I'll learn to speak eventually. And today is Wednesday, January 10th. I am offering you time for books. It's a series I started of videos, and I'm going to be talking about books that I'm reading, books that I have read, maybe even books that I think I should read, or books that you recommend. So today, because it's still January, and I think I've decided that this show should focus on one book per month. We shouldn't introduce 4 different books in a period of 4 weeks. I think it's best to give time to each book. So this book will be a continuation of a fiction book I read recently called Return of the Vinetropes. And once again, I'm pronouncing that Vinetrope Adventures, because that's how I think it's pronounced. I'm not quite sure about that. I'm checking with the author to make sure that she expects people to pronounce it that way. This is a fantasy. It's aimed at middle school children. So it isn't Lord of the Rings or anything like that. If you're an adult watching this, be prepared. It is aimed at middle school children age group, and that's fine. It did everything for me that it needed to do. The reason that I want to talk about it this month, January 2018, who knew 2018 was going to get here so fast? Anyway, the reason that I'm talking about it is because I enjoyed it so much. I know that it isn't meant for me as an adult, as a senior citizen, a baby boomer, all those labels that people like to put on those of us with a little gray in our hair or purple. But the story really was engrossing. The story about this little fairy, her name is Lucinda, and Sarah, the young lady, was really very good. Now, I read a little bit from the book last time. I want to read a little bit more from it this time, and we all know that I need my trusty glasses for that. So let me read to you a little bit about Lucinda, who is a Vinetrope. We think of her as a fairy, but she's not a fairy. She's a Vinetrope. The book takes place, by the way, in the fall into winter. Outside, and not even a day old, Lucinda was hard at work. She was feeling strong and energetic. She had to pull herself together and be practical. That was the plan. If she didn't function, she would surely perish. In the morning, she awoke so hungry her stomach hurt. She breakfasted on some ear fungi she found growing on the pine tree. Then she went exploring. She soon found what she felt must be a walled-in garden. She had dreamt of such things. She went down a flight of steps to get to it, and from above it looked like a sunken room. Inside this space there were flower beds around all 4 edges. Yes, it had to be a garden. But this one seemed unkempt and unloved, as though no one had tended it for some time. But it did add further proof to her hypotheses that giants lived in the house up on the hill. Lucinda went down the steps, and there, in the center of the northern wall, she discovered a flat rectangular piece of slate. It looked just like a door. She slid the flat stone open a crack and was delighted to find behind it a hollow space. Inside, it was cozy and large, like a big room. It had a big, odd-looking route running along the back wall, which was useful as it offered built-in seating. Since then, Linda had been hard at work all morning, smoothing the ground into a presentable floor, and had loosened and removed several large stones from the back wall that rose above the odd root. Now she began to dig upward. tunneling through the earth like a small burrowing animal. She was working her way up to the outside. This tunnel would be her chimney chute. It was not as impressive as the giant's, but it would do the job. Tomorrow, she thought, she would mix up a batch of tar made from tree sap and collect small stones and pebbles to line the inside of the chute. That would make the chimney chute sturdy and fireproof. She wanted this job done first before the winter freeze. It was important to prioritize. That's on page 18. It's part of chapter 2, Sarah Makes a Discovery, because Sarah is now going to meet Lucinda, and the two of them are going to become fast friends. We're going to learn what a Vinentrope really is and why they are not fairies. We're going to learn that a Vinentrope is a plant, very strange, talking plant that sweeps the floor. And that is one of the wonderful things about this book, that it's unique, it's interesting. The story of the friendship and some of the ogres, and they're not called ogres, but you'll see when you read the book, some of the things that happen really do command your attention, really do make you want to keep turning the pages and not putting the book down. You can see it's a substantial book. I've already mentioned that. You can see that it has within it images. Wonderful, wonderful artwork. Those are the two squirrels that are going to show up. And yes, there are talking animals in the book also. I can tell you that I am very fond of talking animals. I talk to my animals all the time and pretend they talk back. So books that have talking animals in them, with a good story, with a good plot, and interesting, wonderful, fabulous pictures, you can't go wrong. So for today's Time for Books at lipsticking.com, this is Yvonne DeVita, and another reading session with Sherry L. Ross's book, Vinentrope Adventures, Return of the Vinetropes. Tune in next week, and we'll do a little bit more with this book. Until then, bye-bye.